Alrighty, guys, welcome to Engineering and AI, guys. Today I'm going to make a short video here for you guys today. And in this video, guys, I'm going to make um, a video if you're a humanities major like I am, and what field of STEM should you go into if you're trying to make a transition. I feel like some humanities majors who went to college, blah, 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 don't want to make a transition because it'll take too long or whatever. So I'm currently engaging in that process right now. I feel like that's what I'm going to end up doing, but I'm gonna guys tell you the pros and the cons of transitioning from one field to another, like engineering, computer science, robotics, whatever you want to do. First, I'm gonna go off the pros and then the cons. Okay, but first things first is I'm gonna contextualize why I did what I did. So first things first, guys. I graduated with a degree in political science, a minor in philosophy. I worked pretty hard at that degree, guys. I put a lot of time into it, sunk 4 fucking years of my soul into that damn thing. Uh, Employment prospects have sucked ass. Like the employment prospects have been atrocious. So yeah, there's that. One of the benefits I would say is if you already have a degree and you're just trying to go for a higher level degree in an entirely new field, one of the benefits you're going to have of becoming a STEM person is that you're going to have a very unique perspective on thinking. Okay, I find that my thought process is superior to some STEM people because I already have tons of training in humanities. Okay, guys, I took so many humanities courses, it's not even funny. I have a ridiculous amount of humanities knowledge, guys. I know philosophy, political science, how power works. I know a lot of history. So I'm very well versed in critical thinking, bureaucracies, business, right? So if you're coming from a humanities background, like a philosophy major, whatever, you want to learn artificial intelligence, right? You're going to come in with a very unique perspective on STEM. And guys, the reason why I went into STEM is I want to make a substantive product. So that's the first thing I think is the benefit about STEM is you're adopting a way of thinking to where you can create tangible results. Okay. If you think about all the innovations that have happened that have changed society, it's mostly either been mathematics, technology, and innovation, right? So I've also been an entrepreneur where I've tried making things that have been to change things that could uh, make a substantive difference in somebody's life. For example, guys, I did a content-based business, right? So, if you're a humanities major, one thing you should realize about content is that content does not change anybody's life. You can't read a book and change your life. You have to actually do something, make a real product, a real good or service that does a real outcome. Okay, the humanities does not do that. Okay, you could read Anarchy State Utopia by Robert Nozick. You could read about John Locke, Rousseau, Voltaire, the Enlightenment, most recent political theory, but it does not create real difference, in my opinion, in society. Okay, real innovation happens from the cutting edge of technology. Okay, so in my opinion, if you're a person who's a very solution based person, I would recommend STEM because I believe in solutions. I believe in finding a problem, deconstructing that problem, and making a solid answer to that problem. Probably my greatest frustration in my life has been never having the right solution to the problem that I want to solve. So if you do engineering, for example, you're adopting a way of thinking about problems that you can approach. Like if you want to make a patent, if you want to make a new technology, you'll have the skill set to do that. Okay, guys, philosophy does you can't invent anything in philosophy. I'm not saying that philosophy is not valuable, but it's you can't do anything really all that useful. You can write a book about ontology or ontology or Don't quote me on all the philosophies. Like Asian philosophy, you could analyze the Zhuangzi, right? Or the Tao Te Ching, or you can learn about my philosophy knowledge seems to be a little bit out of date. Uh, Epistemology, right? The search for truth. All these different types of philosophies are great at helping you think, but it does not create real products. It doesn't give you a service in your hand that can change the world. Okay, if you do STEM and you work really hard at it, you can at least make a real product. Okay, again, STEM does not guarantee anything. Okay, but what it can guarantee is you will have a skill set that most people are not going to have. Okay, that can make real solutions to real problems instead of just talking about the problem. That's one of the things I've gotten tired of in modern society. All we do is talk about things, but we never make real solutions. All we do is talk, 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 but I don't see real change happening. Okay, and I'm the type of guy who likes to see change happen very quickly. I like change, guys. I like seeing things get better, right? So that's one of the benefits of STEM, engineering, computer science, mathematics, etc. is you develop a new way of thinking. Okay, the second benefit as a humanities major going into STEM is you have a more diverse perspective on approaching STEM technology. Okay, one of the things I've noticed in STEM is people are too rigid in their thinking. They lack flexibility, right? The beauty about humanities majors is you have a subjective perception of truth. You have a subjective understanding of truth. You have flexibility in your thoughts, and that allows you to view problems in different ways. But most humanities majors have no real useful skill sets other than critical thinking. Okay, so as a humanities major myself, I can apply my unique perspective to objective truth based problems. When I say objective truth based problems, we are quantifying absolute answers to things that we know with a high degree of certainty. The difference between STEM and humanities, one is more objective, the other tends to be subjective. Objective is, in my opinion, typically better than subjective. Okay, with subjective truth, I can't ascertain anything. Or if it's just a difference of opinions, then we can never come to a consensus on a real solution that works. It's nothing more than speculation or implementation. But physics is just physics. You throw a rock up in the air, it falls down, and we all agree on that. That's the beauty of it. Okay. Um, the third thing about pursuing technology, like I said, is if you do want to make this transition, just remember that there's a shortage of people that are at the cutting edge of high level technology because one, people don't want to do the work to learn it. It takes a ridiculous amount of effort. Okay, like I was studying computer science. It takes a lot of effort to become a software developer. You have to learn for loops, while loops, do while loops, structures, functions, counters, uh, if else if statements, etc. When you're trying to learn something, right? So that's one of the benefits of STEM. There's a shortage. So you'll always be in demand, okay? Even if we assume that there's 100% automation, there's always going to be some level of dependence on external expertise from humans if the machines ever fail, okay? So you'll always be in demand, okay? Um, the fourth thing that is not an obvious benefit of a STEM is that you will be an actual doer in science. You'll be an actual doer in innovation. One of the things I realized I never really thought about for a long time is I always would like to read about technological advancement, technological innovation, but I was never in the middle of technological innovation, right? So there is a lot of, in my opinion, scientific propaganda that's told to us or misconceptions that are not true from people that don't know actual scientific technology on a high and deep level to know what they're talking about, right? In the same way that when my other YouTube channel, ADHD 101, when I'm speaking about a subject on ADHD, there's a lot of misinformation. And when you have that level of understanding, you can hold people accountable and say, no, 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 you don't actually know what you're talking about. And you can discredit bad ideas that do not align with what's actually occurring. Okay, maybe one more benefit of STEM, at least in my opinion, um, is let's say you want to become an entrepreneur. Okay, one of the problems I've noticed as an entrepreneur, right, a tech entrepreneur, whatever you want to call me, is if you're an entrepreneur with no skills to make anything real in terms of real patents, a real product, like I can hold this cup, right? But I can't tell you how to make the cup. It's going to be really hard as an entrepreneur to do anything interesting. Okay. If I wanted to make a cup company and I couldn't tell you how to make this cup, then it's going to be very hard for me to scale a company, right? A real company, a company that makes a lot of money. Okay. Well, most of the companies now, guys, that are going to make a lot of money are going to be the cutting edge of technology, the absolute cutting edge, and only a select number of people can be at that area. Not everybody can do it. Okay. If you're an entrepreneur who has minimal skills of tech, how are you going to be able to implement? You're going to be dependent on engineers, on other people who may not have your best interests at heart in developing your own product that you want to develop, right? That's one of the nice things about Elon Musk. He's heavily involved in the technological process, right? He has a physics degree. He knows like certain aspects of what is occurring in the general process of it. Okay, so if you want to develop high-end, high-tech product that is very hard to replicate, I mean, it can still be replicated, but it's much harder. You can do STEM. Okay, so those are some of the benefits if you're a humanities major and you're doing STEM. Okay, now the cons. Okay, um, it's really hard. Okay, that's just the simplest answer. It's hard as hell. There's nothing easy about it. Even with ChatGPT, guys, software development is still hard. C++ is still hard. Python is easy, but the concept of computer science in general is difficult, right? Coding, so thinking in code is a difficult thing to do, right? Um, if you're not a mathematical person, right, or if you're not high on your quantification abilities, or quantifying or not quantifying calculation abilities, then once again, you're gonna have a very hard time trying to create things in real time. Um, some people say, well, mathematical computation has nothing to do with product design. Well, they're wrong because all forms of technological innovation have some form of computation. If you look at ChatGPT, guys, ChatGPT is all based on computation. It's all mathematical symbols converted into binary digits that outputs desirable outputs from the inputs trainings that it's gotten and it's been optimized for, which can solve real world problems. Okay. So if you're not comfortable with math or you're having a hard time doing objective knowledge research that is not subjective, you're going to have a hard time. Okay. Second thing is you're just not going to get higher grades. Okay, guys, you're going to get lower grades. That's just going to happen because STEM doesn't care about if you are objective. Um, it doesn't care if you have a different opinion. There's one right answer. Okay. And maybe in code you could say, well, there's many right answers, but generally speaking, there's a general principle formula of how you approach a problem that most computer scientists would agree on is the right answer, right? That's why when you put a code in ChatGPT, for example, it'll give you a predictable coding template because this is the training data that has been done millions of times, and this is what always works. Okay, it's like in a video game. We know certain things that always work. Okay, the next thing is it takes a long time. Okay, so guys, right now I think is the best time to get into tech, right? Even if you're late to tech, I think it's better late than never because the next 20 years we're going to have a technological revolution like you've never seen before, right? So even though I'm like 5, maybe 7, 8, 10 years late to the game, it's better late than never. So if you want to do tech, do tech. Okay, just do it if you feel like that's what you want to do. I'm not saying it's the only path to success. I'm just saying that it's just going to take a while because there's so much to understand. You know, guys, I took an entry level CIS course. It was easily harder than my hardest upper division political science course. Like it was not even comparable in terms of difficulty. I spent more hours in tutoring in an entry level course than I did in an upper division poli sci course. I never went to tutoring for political science at all. So there's a difference in understanding. Maybe two more things, and I'll wrap up here. The other con about engineering, right, is that it's going to train you into one way of thinking. Okay, so this is actually about the strength and con. You're going to learn how to solve problems in a very systematic way, in a very specific way, that you're going to approach a lot of problems, that you're going to quantify your problem, you're going to look at the problem, how to build the solution, how to build a product, you're going to iterate products iterations, and then you're going to make your solution, right? So that's also a con because you once again you're limited in your thinking, right? That's the beauty of not being trained in STEM but training in STEM with the humanities major is you're not inflexible in your thoughts. You need to be flexible, dynamic in your thoughts if you want to be innovative. And that's been my observation is I've seen a lot of very STEM people be very inflexible with how they think about problems. And that is one of the reasons why I was interested in studying it because I was curious about what can I do in this area of expertise, etc. Um, and the final con I think about STEM is you know, it's not going to make you rich directly. Okay, so if you care about financial success or financial wealth, right, don't expect this to come directly. Okay, it's actually a myth that people will say, well, if you go into STEM, you're going to make a lot of money. Wrong. Okay, the people who make the most money are always business owners, not engineers. Okay, this is wrong. Engineers can make products that business owners will sell who make a lot of money. Okay, you can make a lot of money in STEM if you solve a really big problem that no one else has solved before. Okay, but just because you study STEM does not guarantee financial security. Okay, let's say you're an engineer, a computer scientist, or whatever, high tech advisor or something like that, and you are getting paid a good salary. You're not going to get wealthy. Okay, you might make $190,000 or $200,000. Okay, you're still not even close to wealth. Okay, so I just wanted to spell this illusion that tech is the way to making money. No, it's not, guys. At most, it will make you middle class, upper middle class at most if you stay a worker. You can never ever be financially free just working any job. Okay, you must build a company. So I just wanted to dispel that myth. And I think if you're a humanities major, I would recommend find a problem that you want to solve. What is something you want to solve and solve it? You know what I mean? That's one of my other motivating factors is I'm interested in solving a really hard problem. I want to solve something that's so hard that nobody's ever done it, right? That's very exciting for me. So, what is your reason of why you want to study engineering, math, science, whatever it is, technology, robotics, right? Do you want to do artificial general intelligence? Do you want to work on rockets? What do you want to do that excites you? Okay, and that for me has been the most intriguing thing about STEM is there are problems that are not yet solved that need new minds to start thinking about these problems, right, guys? Like if you look online, there's nuclear fusion, right? They almost came close to creating a surplus of energy in a tokamak reactor, right? But we still have the same limited thought process from the non-science people or the people that don't know what they're talking about. They'll say, oh, well, it's still 100 years away. It's still 30 years away. So they have self-limiting beliefs, and we need new people in this field so we can perpetuate a high level of change, guys. The only thing that the only products anymore, in my opinion, that create dramatic change in the world is artificial intelligence, mathematical innovation, a high technological problem or high technological solution to very ambiguous problems. Okay, so if you're interested in these fields, Find an ambiguous problem you want to solve. What is something that is fascinating to you that you'd like to say, well, I left my mark on this when you die? That's my motivating factor. I was looking at fusion. I was like, okay, maybe I should study particle physics. That sounds kind of interesting, right? And the other enjoyable part, in my opinion, is I get to use my brain when I'm trying to work out a problem. That's very exciting for me. I like to think about how can I work out a problem that's incredibly hard to solve. It's like a puzzle, and when you could solve that puzzle, it's very satisfying because you put so much effort into solving a really hard problem, right? And the other benefit is it gives you a net positive for society, because if you become successful at solving a hard problem in STEM, you may change the world. Okay, and that to me is incredibly exciting, because if you're a solution based person, you will always have the reoccurring frustration that society doesn't focus on solutions. They always focus on perpetuating problems without creating solutions to problems. So I want to create solutions. So at least that's my motivation. That's all I have for you guys for engineering and AI. Tell me what you think of this video. What are your thoughts? What other videos do you think I should make? And that's all I have for you guys, and have a great day.